Hello. If you're watching this, it's probably because you're wondering whether you should study law, and you're probably wondering whether law is for you, why you might want to come and study at UCD, and what are your options for the future. Well, if that's the case, you've come to the right place. My name is Brian Hutchinson. I'm Associate Professor in the UCD Sutherland School of Law at University College Dublin, where I've been a member of faculty for 30 years, and where I am head of career development amongst the students. My role is to expand our career choices and to help students make them in their studies or following their studies. From a career perspective, I say you've come to the right place because UCD has consistently been ranked number one for employer satisfaction in the various different rankings in Ireland and indeed in the world in the International Law School rankings. We are a top 100 law school within the world. And apart from the reasons for that, which other speakers will have spoken to earlier on, when it comes to career opportunities, many of our students go on to take the best positions, both locally and internationally, in the law firms, or in the role of barristers at the bar, or indeed they take it further into many other walks of life. And again, if you're thinking about a career in law or a career following a law degree, it might be important for you to realize that many of our graduates don't go on to become lawyers at all. They take up roles in public administration, whether it's international bodies, whether it's government, whether it's public service, whether it's politics. Many of them go into business, naturally enough, because who wouldn't want somebody with the skills and knowledge of a lawyer in their organization? So in the latest reviews we have by third parties viewing us and the work that we do looking to see where our students go, we find that there is a high level of career advancement from law students, not only, as I say then, as lawyers, but in other roles in business and society and life as well. And of course that's because law is the set of rules that govern us in our lives, whether that's commercially, whether it's socially, whether it's politically, whether it's internationally or domestically. And you know, having the skills and the confidence to be able to deal with laws and rules are very fulfilling things. And that sort of fulfillment creates useful members of society, but also gives you strengths and abilities to go and pursue whatever really animates you and whatever really is important to you at the end of the day. So it's not just about being a solicitor or a barrister or a traditional lawyer, so to speak. So having said that, of course, many of our students do go on to take good positions and make great careers as professional lawyers. The two career paths that are most traditional are that of the solicitor. Solicitors tend to work together in firms. Very often nowadays, many of the big international solicitors firms have hundreds, in some cases thousands of solicitors working in them. And indeed, even in Ireland, we have some law firms of that scale. They would very often be involved in advising in large commercial transactions, buying and selling companies, advising government bodies, and also working perhaps at the vanguard of the development of law, helping to change the law in relation to things like aviation, finance, and so on. Interesting, busy, exciting work, demanding, and of course working together very often in teams with the support of a large organisation around you. I say that many of our students go abroad because the skills that you acquire, of course, are universal. The skills of the lawyer in analysing, in interpreting, in using rigour to assess a situation, using evidence before opening one's mouth. All of these skills are transferable internationally, and naturally our students do go to international jobs. But we make extra efforts at the School of Law at UCD to explore those opportunities for our students through a variety of things, such as our London law firm's liaison trip, which takes place annually, and at which we come to meet the major commercial law firms based in London, get some chance to experience what it is like to work within them and to learn from them what it is specifically that they are looking for from graduates, because that gives us the upper hand, or at least an edge, when it comes to applying for positions with these firms. We also, of course, see some of our students go on to the other traditional law graduate route, which is that of the barrister. Barristers are the people who you might know wear the wigs and gowns, who represent people in court, and who very often are the stars of the courtroom dramas that you will see on television or in the films of late. And yes, that is very often the life of the barrister. But of course, the other side to that is the preparation that goes in, the long hours that are involved. And most barristers are not able to organize themselves for various professional rules and reasons into the large firms that solicitors often do. So it's more of a self-organised, self-financed in some cases, and self-motivated career. Very exciting. I didn't make the allusion to actors in films just by accident. You need to have a bit of that in order to be a barrister. And you need ultimately to be a good advocate. We do include in our studies here at UCD opportunities for students to develop their advocacy skills, but I make the point that it's not all debating. It's not perhaps like you might have encountered at school, where there are silver-tongued people able to make their point with ease. Everybody can learn the basics of these skills, and many people indeed do end up using their logic, using their wit, and developing those things to be able to express arguments clearly and well and in a convincing way for life as a barrister, or indeed in other walks of life using their legal skills. I would mention also, of course, that it's not all about being at the top end of the professions. Many of our students go on to take work more locally in smaller solicitor firms, perhaps sometimes maintaining their legal activity in conjunction with some other activity or career. That is possible also. As the legal market changes, there are roles for solicitors to work, for example, in-house in businesses, to work in-house among a number of businesses, and to do so whether they are solicitors in the traditional sense or barristers, so bringing their professional qualifications to the career which they are involved in. So you might find, for example, that many journalists bring both their qualification and their skill to the activity of being a journalist. Or indeed, on the boards of many companies, we find that people have their professional lawyer qualifications and skills based upon their law degree and on their training in those fields afterwards. Outside of those two traditional career paths, I will say again that a lot of our graduates you will find, particularly in the last number of years, have taken the energy and the commitment that they personally bring to study of law in the first place to try and advance the cause of social justice. And you will be aware that we have a specific degree program which focuses on that. So these are people who perhaps don't end up necessarily representing clients on a regular basis from all spheres of activity, but who are involved in advancing the cause to make society and the world we live in a better place. So we have graduates who you will probably recognize who are involved in advancing the plight of victims of institutional abuse. We have people who have gone on to be involved in tribunals, in international bodies, when it comes to war crimes, when it comes to atrocities. And of course, I would say that we also have graduates who have gone on to focus on the day-to-day injustices that we encounter, whether it's rape crisis, whether it's employment or unemployment, and other more local and perhaps less headline areas as well. So those too are opportunities that the law degree allows one to pursue, and also to champion if that is your motivation. So you'll have gathered from what I've said that a law degree is a career stepping stone in a number of directions, whether to the traditional legal professions or indeed into the wider world of business or social activity. And of course, whether one takes one's qualifications further or whether one finishes with a UCD law degree is partially a matter of choice. But we do find that many of our students go on to collect, as it were, the additional qualification of being a solicitor or a barrister, because that carries an extra level of gravitas and of course is a professional requirement if you want to work in those fields. So the UCD law degree is an accredited law degree in Ireland and indeed in a number of other jurisdictions. So if you take a UCD law degree, whether it is a pure law degree in the sense of studying only law, or whether it is a combined law degree, whether with business, with history, with politics, with philosophy, or any of the other range of choices that one has in the UCD Law School and indeed in the UCD programs, our degrees are recognised as being an entry to qualification as a solicitor or a barrister in Ireland. They provide a pathway to qualification for a solicitor or a barrister in England, and indeed they provide a pathway as well for qualification in New York and the state of California, but subject to taking the local bar exams there. So by taking the UCD law degree, you're already advanced some way along those. In order to fulfill all the requirements, of course, sometimes it will be necessary to study particular options within your law degree. For example, if a UK legal qualification is what you want, naturally we would advise that you study UK subjects and English law subjects in the range of subjects that we offer here in UCD. Now, if England is the place where one would ultimately see oneself qualifying, there's a number of ways there. One can qualify as an Irish solicitor or barrister, spend a year or two training and operating here, and then have mutual recognition of one's qualifications in the UK. And very often some of the graduates of ours who end up working in the English firms in particular have begun their life through an Irish traineeship and working with an Irish firm for a while before then moving house, as it were, to the UK and moving across there with their qualification and doing a small amount of mutual recognition upgrading to qualify there. Some of our graduates, of course, go directly. And that might be because they're coming from the UK or elsewhere. You're very welcome if you are. Or indeed that they have ambitions to go in that direction. So you can go straight to the UK from here as well by using your UCD qualification to be recognised by the English professional bodies. In addition to those formal recognitions, many of our students end up working in continental Europe or indeed further afield. Now, while there isn't the same sort of formal structure in place, our experience is that our graduates normally can fill the gaps relatively easily by picking up local qualifications to meet the qualification requirements for local bars. In my role as a career director, I regularly find myself having to write letters of recommendation to local bars in continental Europe, sometimes in the United States, and indeed further afield. And those letters certify to the local authorities that our students have covered, the required diet of subjects. And those things are well accepted in many different jurisdictions. So when we look at a map of the world, we find that our graduates are actually quite diversely spread around the world, and increasingly so, and partially, of course, because of the international nature of the exchange programs that we have within the law school, and our many different links with other law schools around the world. And being a top 100 law school within the world allows us to open doors and to make those connections. And it's something we take very seriously, and it's something we hope that will be of use and advantage to you as a UCD Law graduate when the time comes. So what is it then we do in career support in University College Dublin School of Law? Well, we work in liaison with the UCD Career Networks, which is the centralised agency in UCD, with dedicated and well-trained staff who are both involved in looking at opportunities, exploring new opportunities, organising events and fairs and recruitment drives, bringing in employers and a wide range of alumni to be able to explain both the opportunities and also the experiences of those who have been through UCD. So we have regular employer induction events where employers from traditional legal employment and the wider employment community, and sometimes also, of course, non-governmental, governmental, public bodies as well, including the charity sector. We have regular events where speakers from those areas will come and talk to students and answer their questions. And one of the things we pride ourselves upon is they're not just information sessions. They are often built around skills sessions. So students will be introduced to the skill of answering questions at an interview, the skill of how to write your CV, the skill of how to write a good covering letter so that it conveys you to a potential employer, because one of the things we know from having very high caliber graduates is that it's hard to distinguish everybody because they're all so good. So it's important to gather these skills as well. I sometimes tell students that it's not your good grades that's going to get you the job. It's how you succeed in making the employer know that you are a good fit for them. So we place a premium on developing such skills. We provide a range, as I say, of events where employers can induct students into these things. And with UCD Careers Network, we also have dedicated sessions and resources where students can have their CV reviewed, where they can consult the Careers Network for advice on how they might proceed in relation to a particular opportunity, or get help from them in exploring a new opportunity that maybe wasn't obvious on our list to begin with. And of course, often at career events we get asked, and particularly recruitment events, we get asked whether UCD offers internships as part of its degree programs. And the short answer to that is, in limited cases, we have a network of alumni intern providers, but we do find that independent of the degree, many of our students do summer internship work, and these opportunities present themselves through the employer engagement, which I described before, and also, of course, the UCD Career Network keeps tabs of a whole range of internship opportunities. Our law degrees do, from time to time, allow students the opportunity to engage with employers in a slightly less external way. So we do encourage employers to become involved in the academic delivery of courses as well, particularly in specialist areas of law, for example, financial services, international dispute resolution, aviation finance, etc. So a lot of the time the experience will be gained in the classroom or through the exercises or activities that are part of a formal module rather than necessarily outside in the day-to-day workplace. So I hope what I've said has been helpful for you in making this important decision about your studies and your career. I remain at your disposal, as we say. Should you have any particular queries, please don't hesitate to contact us at the School of Law of UCD if there's anything that you would like further information on or any specific queries that you have. And with that, I wish you all the best and hopefully look forward to seeing you in the near future at University College Dublin Sutherland School of Law. Thank you very much.